How you doing?
Tune in now to the hottest sports podcast, 910 Sports. 910 Sports. We discuss the latest topics in sports, interview the athletes from all over the country, known and unknown, while spotlighting the youth of today and tomorrow with host Icon E, Mr. Personality Jacob the Great, Crystal, a.k.a. Miss Wildfire, KB the Amazing, and Steve O, a.k.a. Mr. All Everything Georgia.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Icon E. We're here on 910 Sports, episode 31. You know what I'm saying? I got my boy KB Amazing in the building.
What's going on? What's going on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, we got B-Soul Radio, Miss Bonita Radio Show Network. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shoot, everybody here early, man, today, man. I'm loving it. Our second guest was still early. It was an hour early, so I was like, folks showing up and showing out. What's going on? How you doing? Yes, sir. We got Armfield's Xavier Armfield in the building. So my first guest this morning. See, do it like this, so everybody find the screen out, so anybody jump on here. You know what I'm saying? Can you hear, sir? So how he gets set up? How was your weekend, bro?
Man, busy, man. I'm it was hot yesterday. It was like a good 70 something. So I put out this little inflatable bounce house for the kids, and they was outside all day. So I'm hurting, man. This morning I was like, ooh, because I'm an hour behind y'all, so it's 7 for me. So I was like, ooh.
What city? I keep forgetting. What city you in again?
I'm in Dallas right now.
Okay, yeah, I was in Texas, but I wasn't in Dallas. I was in Austin. I was in Austin, and then I was in some small town, man, out of the middle of nowhere, man. I was somewhere. It was like 700 people was the population.
Oh no!
It's called McAmey, Texas.
I stay in the very populated, diverse part of Texas.
Yeah, I was in McAmey, Texas.
Oh, McKinney. Yeah, I used to live. I moved to McKinney when I first moved down here. So
not McKinney, McAmey.
Oh,
it's in the middle of nowhere. It ain't near any major city. So we had to go out there. Then we had to fly. It was crazy. We had to fly to Midland. We had to take a taxi to Midland, then go from Midland, Texas, and fly to Houston, from Houston to Austin. And then now we're in Louisiana. Now we're in some small city in Louisiana called Hackberry, headed to Florida. So it's been a crazy couple of days. So, but anyway, man, I want to talk real quick, man, while we got a minute. Talk about this. My worst nightmare that came true. Them Duke Blue Devils have made it to the Final Four. So I was hoping Arkansas was going to knock them off, but and the more I'm watching Duke, the more I'm looking at them and saying they got a legit chance of winning it all. Because the thing about this Duke team, and I hate to say it, they have all the components of a college national championship team. They have a point guard who's aggressive, who understands how to run a team, who can make big shots. They have wings and a top 3 player in Pablo and Carroll, who can Ben Carroll, whatever his name is, that can make big shots. He's a big wing, and then they have a big man who's very aggressive in Mark Williams. So they have other components to that team, or whatever that can, the only teams now a team that's left Carolina, if Kansas, Miami's beat them this year, Carolina's beat them this year, and Kansas I think is capable of beating them. So I'll be honest with you, St. Peter's can't win because St. Peter's is too small. They wouldn't be able to beat Duke. So
hey, the way St. Peter's is going, who knows, man? Who knows?
I get it. I like St. Peter's as a team. I love the coach. I love his enthusiasm and his fire. He got that New York swag about him. You can tell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's his name? Hassan Holloway. I think that's how you pronounce his name. But he got that New York swag. He got everything that embodies New York. You know what I'm saying? The way he comes off the little, what they gonna say now, and I can say arrogance, but he has a very high confidence in his team. So he has all. St. Peter's have all the components to be in, to be where they're at. But I just think if they get to the Final Four, the teams that they would have to play moving forward are too talented at this point for them to knock anybody out.
Right.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Good, man. Glad to be on the show this morning, man. I was having some technical difficulties, but I've addressed that, and I just overheard you all talking about the Final Four matchups.
Yeah, like I told him, because I'm a Carolina fan, born in Carolina.
Yeah.
Been a Carolina fan my whole life. All my family members is Carolina fans. And I had a couple of my sister, my uncle, all went to Carolina, or whatever. So it's just in our blood. The only person in our family that's crazy that was a Carolina fan on either side, my mom on my dad's side was my dad. And now my son he's a Carolina fan trying to take on his granddad's legacy since he passed. I mean, a Duke fan.
Okay.
But so my worst nightmare then came true. That Duke back in the Final Four, and Coach K could ride out with a championship. I wanted him to ride out the way when we beat him early this month. That's how I wanted Coach K to look again when he left out. You know what I'm saying? I want his last remembrance to be that we beat him.
Yeah, man. That's cool. That's cool, man. I mean, I guess, growing up in the Carolinas, the Duke North Carolina rivalry is really big. And I kind of have always leaned towards the Duke program. I don't know why. I can't say I'm a huge fan, but I do pull for Duke. And it is interesting to see, how things are playing out. And it does appear that there's a good chance that they could, meet up in the championship game. That'll be really nice and fun to see. So I guess we got to sit back and just wait, man. But I am enjoying seeing St. Petersburg in this run that they're making, and just seeing Shaheen Holloway. A lot of people don't know, or maybe not even remember Shaheen Holloway, but Shaheen Holloway graduated high school a year before I did, in 1996. And Shaheen Holloway, was a highly sought after point guard who played for Seton Hall out of St. Patrick's High School in New Jersey, same high school where Kyrie Irving went. A lot of people don't know that. And in that McDonald All-American game, he played alongside Kobe Bryant, Richard Hamilton, Jermaine O'Neal, players to name a few. And Shaheen Holloway was the MVP of that game.
Yep.
Yeah, he was the MVP of that game. So New Jersey, definitely a New Jersey legend. A lot of people are standing behind him. It's going to be very interesting. But to your point, a lot of these smaller schools, right now, the talent pool for basketball is so large that, players can go and play at a number of programs. It comes down to size. I think one of the reasons that they're having more success is because they've played together for so long. So they have an advantage over some of the larger programs where these players are only there 1 or 2 years. You know, being there 4 years, being in the system, being able to develop a culture. These teams are very strong. But to your point, normally down the long stretch of a game, the larger teams have too much, meaning that sometimes they're going to be a little bit deeper, or they're just going to be more skilled and have more size at that particular position. Where St. Petersburg can play with them, but they're not as deep at a particular position. So if someone gets into foul trouble, you know, North Carolina may have 3 or 4 people that's 6'10", 6'9", where St. Petersburg may only have 1 or 2. You know what I'm saying? So and down the stretch, if somebody gets in trouble, that size differential and that skill level kind of starts to weigh out that last 10 minutes of the game. So it'll be interesting to see, man. They definitely got a puncher's chance. But I think they'll be a little bit overmanned, you know, down the stretch. We'll see.
Okay, so I'm going to let Jacob introduce you properly, and we're going to get into your story.
Okay.
So, Jacob, go ahead and take it away, brother.
Everybody, welcome to the 9-1 Sports Podcast. We have live a friend of mine for over 20 years, man. You know, Zay is a great dude, great dad, great husband, you know, and this is Xavier Armfield out of Greenwood, South Carolina, man of many talents. I just want to welcome him to the podcast, and we'll get into his story. Good morning, Xavier. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for having me on the show. I know we've been talking for a while, and I was telling you, man, I was hoping I was going to be able to get on. Things have been, you know, busy, but I definitely been following you. Appreciate what you're doing. I support what you're doing. And it could have been a better time. March Madness, man. You know, we're catching the end of March, you know, being able to talk about some hoops, which, you know, I love. But I'm just happy to be on the platform and being able to kind of connect with you guys and, you know, offer a little bit to the topics that you choose to discuss, man. So thank you for having me today.
Right. And before we get to you, congratulations on the newborn too, man. Congratulations, man.
I appreciate it, man. You may hear him in a minute. You know what I'm saying? He's waking up right now. But now I definitely appreciate that, man. He's bringing us a lot of joy.
Right. You finally got your baby boy. You know what I mean?
Baby boy, yeah.
Yeah. So that's good, man. So let's get into the journey of Xavier Mr. Armfield, man. So I met you. I seen you play before I met you.
Okay.
I seen you play at Emerald High School.
Okay.
When it was that same team with you and Rico and BJ and all y'all, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So you know, tell us about how you really grew that love for the game and that passion you have for the game. So before you get in that, do you feel like players still have passion for the game, the young players, or do you feel like everybody want to be a young basketball star and be famous?
No, I think the sport itself, in my personal opinion, is very addictive. So if you play it, I think obviously there's a culture that surrounds it, but without a doubt, I believe that the players are passionate, and I think, you know, because of science and because of the resources and things they have available to them, the access, they're able to, you know, view games from a different lens. They're able to study, and they're exposed to a lot more now at an early age. And even with some of the training that they're exposed to, it allows them to, that's why we're seeing basketball and skill levels at an all-time high. So I guess just to get back to your point, without a doubt, I think they are very passionate about the game. That's the best way to put it. Heavily influenced by the European game, but, you know, you're seeing players that are at, you know, your 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" players that are able to play 1 through 5, and that's becoming more and more common. But yeah, definitely passionate, very skilled, very athletic. They're, of course, officiated differently, and, you know, in certain cases, so some people may or may not like that, but the passion is still there.
Okay. So, welcome. Good morning, Crystal. So,
yeah. Hey,
good morning, Crystal. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
So, man, since y'all are from the same hometown, I'm gonna let her step in here and get some of these questions going for you, and then followed by Icon, and then, you know, followed by Mr. KB Amazing, of course. So, Crystal, you have the floor.
Okay. Hey, Xavier.
Hey, how you doing, Crystal?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
Congratulations on your baby.
Thank you. I was just telling them you may hear him in a minute. You know, he may send a shout out in the background. He's just waking up. But thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Okay, so how did you start playing basketball? When did you start playing basketball?
Wow. When did I start? It's elementary school. I think just picking up. I remember I grew up. I went to elementary school in Due West, South Carolina. Mm-hmm. A lot of people might not know that. My mother's from Due West. And at the time, my dad was in seminary at Erskine College.
Right.
And my grandmother, my late grandmother, she was a teacher at the elementary school. So they were doing a lot of traveling back and forth from Greenwood to Due West. And I was staying, basically riding to school, going to school with my grandmother every day. And we play on the basketball courts at Due West in elementary school. And the crazy thing about it, I don't know what was going on the playground, but for some reason, I don't know if it's some bigger kids that come to the court, but somebody had tore down the rims at the school. But we enjoyed basketball so much. I literally remember this. We played basketball with no rims. I mean, full court. I remember this, running up and down the court, like literally just shooting at the middle of the backboard. And actually felt like, I guess depending on how I hit the backboard, people say, hey, he hit that shot. And then we run back down the court, playing basketball. So I'm just saying that just to tell you how much I love playing basketball. And the love for it just grew and grew and grew. And very early on, my cousin, his name is Jonathan Stackhouse. He lives in Columbia, played basketball. He's a year older than me. He and I played basketball all the time. That's all we talked about is hoops. Basketball this, basketball that. And I started to get better. He was a little bit taller than me, but I got to a point where I could beat him. And we played one-on-one all the time. And I remember maybe like in 5th or 6th grade, my aunt found out about Alex English basketball camp at Newberry College. Mm-hmm. And she was like, yo, we're going to take y'all down to the basketball camp this summer. And I remember just being so excited about that. You're getting your T-shirts, getting your sneakers. We're going to go down to basketball camp for an entire week. We're going to stay there, stay in the dorms. It was an amazing experience. Probably one of the most impressionable experiences in terms of what basketball is about. The coach, the camp director was George Glimp, which a lot of you probably know. Storied Hall of Fame coach Eau Claire, of course, left Eau Claire with Jermaine O'Neal. Of course, you had Alex English there. All of the basketball coaches from Columbia, South Carolina, at the different high schools were represented. A pool of talent. Alex was just finishing up his career in Denver at the time, so he had a lot of players from Denver, young guys. He brought down, got a chance to just be exposed to a lot of basketball minds, a lot of different styles of basketball. And at that point, my fire was lit, and it's never gone out.
Do you still play now?
I do not. I'm more in observation mode now. I guess a little bit of, mentoring some players here and there that I interact with, or family or friends that I know. I mean, I'll pick up the ball every now and then, but definitely don't play competitively. Maybe once or twice a year, I may get a run or two in. But again, I always enjoyed the game. I'm a big NBA guy, if you don't know. I do watch high school and college, but for some reason, I've always been, really impressed and entertained by the pros, man. So that's kind of my thing.
All right, Icon, go ahead.
Okay, so being a former FIBA agent, how in the world do you get into something? Well, before you even say that, it's kind of funny because when growing up, my grandmother, she went out and had a neighbor build me one of those, had some plywood, she found an old rusty rim, made me a goal, eventually got me a real one from Walmart or whatever. And it was crazy because we had, her backyard was pretty big, so we had a goal on one side, 10-foot goal, but on the other end was her clothesline. So I turned that into full court.
Okay.
So I would pass in a certain part. I would make certain of the middle for the clothesline, the basket. And my grandmother would get so upset with me because I'd be dunking on it and everything. And every time she come out to put the clothes up, she had to retie it up. So at some point, she just gave up because she like, well, at least he's not in the streets. You know what I'm saying? That's the worst thing I got to fuss with him about is going back and forth playing full court on my doggone thing, and that's crazy. And then when I moved into my apartment complex, we had monkey bars, but the monkey bars had like different holes and stuff with them, so we had to figure out which hole was going to be the hole that the basket counted. So basically, we didn't have a goal, so we had to use monkey bars as the goal. So I get what you're saying is you had to figure it out, you know. And
right. Yeah, man. I mean, those are some very fond memories, and I guess just to add to that story. So when I got a little bit older, and my dad saw that I liked playing basketball, he actually went to, I guess what you call it, the shop in Greenwood, and he had them to design me a backboard. He got a backboard made, official, almost like a regulation size backboard made out of wood. Mm-hmm. And he got it painted. It was white with a red box on it, and he put it on the light pole in our yard. You know, the huge light pole that you have in your yard. He put it on there so I could play all night. You know, and so growing up in Wisewood, South Carolina, in my hometown, in my community, in my neighborhood, everybody knew like we had a really big yard. And I mean, basketball games for days, man. I come home some days, man, catch me out there playing in our yard. We walk right in the house, we ain't pay no attention. It's like, yo, I might go back outside, I might not. Like, yo, they knew it was just free to play, you know what I'm saying? As long as no trouble, man, we would play basketball. It was a red dirt court. That's the only thing I hate. That court, man, is that I wish it had been paved. But outside of that, man, it was a perfect basketball haven. We played from dusk to dawn. I mean, picnic tables outside, water all day, every day. Just very, very beautiful memories, man. Like you said, basketball is one of the best escapes. You know, when you really think about, and I guess sports in general, everybody views it differently, but I can just vividly think about playing basketball. When you're playing basketball, nothing else matters other than that game. Mm-hmm. Teammate, how we're going to win, overcoming adversity, you know, playing to the best of your ability, you know, being challenged, overcoming obstacles, but everything else that you can block out. And, you know, it's just been a very healthy and therapeutic thing for me. And even to a point now, even watching the game where you can kind of block out what's going on in the world and just sit back, enjoy the game, appreciate the game. It's always been a beautiful escape.
Okay, so now that's the thing I was about to ask you. So being a former FIBA agent, how in the world do you get into something like that? And what's the journey to get to that point?
Man, you're taking me back a couple years. Well, I think it must have been maybe in 2012. I left the financial industry, and I was out of work, and I was thinking of something that I wanted to do in the form of a business. And I was sitting back, kicking around some ideas with some friends, and I formed a company called Exposure Sports. It's early 2000s. And at the time, man, I really wanted to create a company to represent or to create a platform for players like myself, coming out of high school, someone who was talented, who had the ability to play, in my opinion, at the next level, but may not have gotten some of the exposure that some other players may have gotten, sometimes just because of where you may be geographically, or maybe just because, you know, sometimes coaches may not have some of the connections that other coaches have, and there's limitations in regards to that. A number of those things influenced my recruiting process and probably other people. And I wanted to create a platform to highlight and showcase those players, where there would be somewhere that coaches and recruiters would be able to see them, recognize them, and hopefully lead to them having some opportunities to play sports beyond the high school level. So that's hence the name Exposure. So we started working with high school athletes, amateur athletes, some of the smaller high schools in South Carolina and North Carolina. We were going out doing features on some of those players, and we were having a couple different skills camps and training sessions, and trying to invite coaches out, and just really trying to have a grassroots program to, you know, I guess give them a better platform. We did that for a couple months, or maybe a year or so. But we sat back and said, hey, we enjoy this, but we have to find a way to, you know, make some money. And, you know, a lot of people were coming to us about possibly being agents, or is that something that you've considered? So it kind of just planted a seed in my mind, and I began to do some research. And I actually just finished getting my master's degree at that time. And I was like, man, I don't want to go back to school. But, a lot of things are saying, hey, you got to get your law degree to be an agent. And, these are some things you need to do. And while I was doing my research, I was looking at different law schools, thinking about, okay, where would I go? What's the quickest school I can get in, get out? I want to be an agent. I don't want to have to move. And, I had to take the GMAT again. And I was like, at some point, I stumbled across the FIBA application of becoming a FIBA agent. And it's stating that you didn't necessarily have to be an attorney, but you just had to, go through this rigorous training and also pass this test. So I just kept digging deeper, making phone calls, researching online, and somehow I got an application packet. And in the application packet, it stated that, we give this test 2 times a year, 1 time in the US, 1 time in Europe. And you come out, you pay your money, you take the test, you pass it, you become a licensed FIBA agent. And that particular year, they were giving a test somewhere in Iceland and in Puerto Rico. And I was like, I'm not going to Iceland. Let me see if I can get myself together and make it down to Puerto Rico. And it wasn't just me. So I formed a company, but then I linked up with my cousin and one of my best friends, my frat brother. And my frat brother, he was down. He was like, yo, let's go to Puerto Rico. Let's knock this thing out. Get me the material. So we just began to study it. And for the next month or two, man, bro, it's nothing you couldn't tell me about international basketball. I was studying it because I was just like a sponge. And it's something that I was excited about, soaked it up. We made the trip to Puerto Rico, got there on a Thursday, maybe on Friday. Got there on a Friday morning. Hung out, went to the beach, old San Juan, kicked it. That Saturday morning, we took the test, probably a room of maybe 30, 40 people. And we're sitting down, it's a paper test. And, everybody's really quiet. I'm sitting up front. I'm laser focused, locked in. And, man, I breezed through the test, man. The test supposed to last maybe about an hour long. I was done a little over 30 minutes. And I killed it. We passed. We both passed the test. And we were off to the running. So we had a lot of relationships, me playing some collegiately, his dad coached at Limestone. We just knew a lot of people in the basketball community, former teammates, coaches. So people just started to call us, and you would be surprised how many people, graduate from college, who want to go on to play at professionally, but never given an opportunity. And I guess even at that time, maybe just didn't have as many connections or have the resources to understand what needed to be done. And again, I wanted to kind of be that bridge, to be someone who you could talk to, develop a relationship with, and hopefully we could find, a program overseas that would be a good fit. And we had some success. I'd say over that 2 to 3 year period that we represented players, we probably placed somewhere between 8 to 10 players. Yeah, I think maybe, I want to say it was 9 players. Yeah, we had 9 players, and we probably within the last 2 years, our last ones have just finally retired. So they had some really good careers, and we were very instrumental in I said, getting them started. A lot of them, as they got further into their careers and once we stepped away from the industry, luckily they were able to kind of work with some other people. But it was a very special time, I guess, in my career, in my life, just being able to help somebody do something that I always wanted to do myself.
Okay. So, KB, you got a question?
Yeah. So kind of 2 questions. The first one, with being, I know you stated that you were a recruiter before you became a agent. Were you recruiting for a school, or what was going on with that?
Well, I wasn't necessarily a recruiter myself. We created a platform for recruiters. So the goal was to create a platform and a website, rather, that featured high school players. Say, for instance, where are you from?
I grew up in Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach, okay. And what high school did you go to?
the Lansdowne High School.
Okay.
But I have a buddy who plays for the Philippine team. So I just always wanted this, the FIBA stuff.
Okay. Well, now the reason I was asking that is because, say, for instance, me and you were cool, and you telling me about your high school back in Virginia. You say, man, it's this cat down there, left-handed point guard, 6'2", 6'3". He's really filling it up. He's a senior. He got hurt his junior year. And a lot of people don't know about him. But I mean, I'm telling you, man, if he gets an opportunity, he can really play. At this point, he's not really getting as many looks as I think he should. Everybody knows him back home. Really good kid, really good family. That's the type of player I would want to feature on the site. I want to get more information about him. Tell me a little bit about his story. How's his grades? And maybe do an interview with him, or find out where he is academically in order to qualify from an eligibility standpoint. Send you off some information for him to, or try to get him plugged in with some schools or with someone to hopefully better his chances at advance. And so that's the type of thing we would do. We weren't necessarily recruiting. We were just really trying to provide information. We were doing SAT preparation courses for students. Anything that we could do to help better prepare them or give them a platform to be seen. That's what we were all about initially. So I wasn't actually recruiting. I was more or less preparing, educating, empowering them so they could hopefully have a career at the next level.
Oh, that's dope, because it's crazy because the show, me and Steve will have a show that we do on Saturdays, and we kind of do the same thing, or at least trying to, give spotlight to, guys in high school or guys within their, junior college, just getting their face out there, name, platform, and stuff. So that's dope. That you do that. You did that, because we're just beginning to kind of do the same thing, but on the football side.
Okay.
And last question. I've been seeing a lot of posts about this Mount Rushmore of influential basketball players, right? They got Steph, LeBron, Kobe, and MJ. Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of influential NBA players that either had a huge impact on the game or just changed the game?
I don't know if I never even thought about this when I was kidding. You say influential, so are you saying past or present, or does it matter?
Oh yeah, just your Mount Rushmore. They don't have to be present.
Okay, all right. Here we go. Most influential, and again, this is all opinion based. You know what I'm saying? It's all opinion based, and this is my perspective, and I'm gonna be as real and as raw as I could possibly be, because that's just how I do. At the point guard position. And again, I'm always going to go 1 through 5. That's just how I do it. I know it's a Mount Rushmore, but I always look at it from a position standpoint. Irvin Magic Johnson is my favorite point guard ever. Matter of fact, he was my favorite player ever up until a certain period of time in my life. I've always enjoyed Showtime Magic, his charisma, his style of play, his ability to facilitate. I think it's just second to none. Not to say that there's no one else who hasn't played the position well, but when I think point guard, I always think Magic Johnson. I mean, I just think just size, his ability, it's just been special. I've never seen anything like it. So Magic's definitely at the point guard on my Mount Rushmore. At shooting guard, it goes without saying, it's Michael Jordan. You got Kobe, you got Steph. These guys, Steph, in my opinion, probably is the best shooter I've ever seen. There's a lot of great shooters, but he's just like, he's like a machine. I mean, did you see him this year in the All-Star game?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's limitless. His range is like, I never seen anything like it. He's special in his own right at the shooting guard position, but I do need on my Mount Rushmore, I need a player that's going to have a little bit more size, who's going to be as tenacious on the defensive side of basketball, and that that is able to do a few more things that Steph is able to do. But it's not taking anything away from Steph. but Steph is not on my Mount Rushmore. If we're going to have 5 players. Now, if we're going to just span the list out, cool, but at my 2 guard is going to be Michael Jordan. At my 3, it's going to be LeBron James, without a doubt. You know what I'm saying? The thing about it, I mean, I get into a lot of debates, a lot of talks about LeBron James. I don't know if you heard. But the thing about LeBron is, I don't care. So a lot of people are down on him, I guess, in comparison to like Michael, because he has not won, as many games in the championship as Michael has, or he hasn't been as successful. That don't matter to me. You know what I'm saying? It matters in the fact that I understand that Michael has been more successful in championship games, without a doubt, but it doesn't take away from how I feel about LeBron in his game at all. Because the pure joy that he has brought to me kind of trumps that, man. I think it's because I've been able to appreciate the wins and the losses, so I just have more of an endearment for him in terms of his entire career, because I didn't watch Jordan from such a young age. I've never seen a player that I've been able to watch pretty much from day 1 to year 19. I have never been able to watch them so much and being able to enjoy or to experience the highs and lows of their career. So even the losses, in my mind, even though they are, I guess, somewhat of a blemish on his career, they just make him more normal and more real to me. The thing about Michael Jordan is, and again, I'm not going to take anything away from him, and people, diehard Michael Jordan fans, and I get it, because in my eyes growing up, he was a superhero. I'd never seen anybody as good as Michael Jordan. And it's probably, as crazy as it sounds, that's probably one of the reasons I wasn't as big of a Michael Jordan fan, because in my eyes, as a kid growing up playing basketball or being a competitor, I felt as if someone could beat Michael Jordan, anything was possible. So always in my mind, I always felt like you got to be able to beat Mike. There's got to be somebody out there that's better or as good as Michael. And that's the thing that kind of drove me as a kid. Like, it's got to be somebody. It can't be just one person that good. It's got to be somebody else that is as good, who is as talented. And that's the thing, I think, that kind of made me kind of look at Michael Jordan as a villain growing up. But I've always appreciated what he did, the standard in which he set, and I always think he's probably one of the most amazing basketball players. He just hasn't been one of my favorite. Magic was my favorite, and then now it's LeBron. So back to my list, you got Magic, you have Michael, you have LeBron. At my power forward position, I gotta go Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
I gotta go Tim Duncan. I mean, it's not like it's flashy or anything like that, but the fundamentals and just the consistency, the championships, I respect it. And if I had to build an all-time team at power forward, I can't think of anybody that I just would want to put before him based on what he's going to be able to give, what I could expect from him, the double-double, the rebounding, just the presence, the size. I like what he was able to bring to the game, what he stood for. And at my center position, I'm going Shaquille O'Neal, without a doubt. Most dominant forces I've ever seen in my life. I mean, if you get Shaq the ball at his feet, I mean, the way he was able to get position, pin his defender, there was no defense. There was no defense. His drop step, pivot, I mean, he was unbelievable. And in my opinion, that's probably the most dynamic 5 players you can put on the court at the same time. Of course, they span across different eras, but that would be my starting 5 on my Mount Rushmore.
Man, I agree 100%.
Okay, Steve, so you got any questions?
Yeah, man, how you doing? Good morning. I did have a question.
Good morning, man. How you?
I'm good. So being an agent overseas, did you ever catch, I guess, any kind of flack because you wasn't from that area from other agents? Like, did you ever get in situations where other agents may try to blackball you out because you're not one of them or you're not from there or something like that when you were overseas?
Well, actually, I never really spent time. I've been overseas myself to several countries, just later on in life or just in traveling. But when I was actually an agent, we never really traveled overseas.
Okay.
Let me tell you a little quick story about how I got into it. So I told you about the test and everything, but and this is an interesting part of the story. So my senior year in college, I went to my basketball coach, and the assistant basketball coach at the time at Anderson University, his name was Kevin Pedersen. People probably heard of Kevin Pedersen because Kevin Pedersen is the head basketball coach at Landon University in Greenwood, South Carolina, and he's had an amazing basketball career coaching there. Crystal, I know you're probably aware of Coach Pedersen and some of the things he's been able to do. But he got it started at Anderson University, and he was assistant coach to Doug Novak, and he and I just had a really good relationship. And I came to him, and I was like, hey, life after basketball, I'm starting to kind of think about some things that I want to do. And I said, I'm really wanting to become a basketball agent. So I was already thinking about it when I was in college, but I ended up graduating, kind of putting it on the back burner. And he was like, yo, I got somebody I want you to talk to. So he was before coming to Anderson, he went to college. He was a grad assistant at Clemson University, of course, which is right up the street from Anderson. And he had some connections there. And he said, Xavier, I got somebody I want you to talk to. His name is Merrill Cole. And I was like, okay. He was like, here's his phone number. I'm going to give him a call. I want you to give him a call, kind of talk to him about becoming a basketball agent. So he gave me Merrill's number. I called Merrill, and Merrill said, come through, whatever, let's talk about it. So I drive up to Greenville and to go meet Merrill Cole. And I heard about Merrill Cole before, being from South Carolina, him and his dad as well. And we sat down, we started talking about basketball, hoops, you know what I'm saying? We had a lot in common. And I remember he was just kind of telling me, yo, it's cutthroat, man. Sure you want to do this? He was like, yo, it's cutthroat, man. It's crazy out here. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm passionate about it. I enjoy, the numbers and negotiation. I just love being around the game. I think I'll be a good representation for players. I really want to help people out, whatever. He's like, man, but he said, everybody ain't got a good heart like you. You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, I want to give it a shot. And so he kind of put me in contact with some people back then. But again, I just didn't follow up with it. But the things he was telling me, which kind of gets back to your question, he was like, man, it's tough because, these programs, they only have like maybe one or two positions for American players, or and when you're in their country, you'll be considered international. So say, for instance, they got 10, 12 players, only 2 of them can be Americans, okay? And you got to really have the cream of the crop. And if I can go back into the industry at this point in my life, I probably would have a lot more success because I would take a different approach. But I say that to say, no, I didn't get blackballed by anybody. And what he meant by the whole cutthroat thing is that they're very big on names, on like in terms of schools and places like where you went. So here's a good example. So say for instance, you got this 6'1", 6'2" player who really just killed it in college. Say he went to Queens University or Belmont Abbey, I don't know, had a great career. Say he averaged 25. He was all conference, player of the year in his conference, maybe even went to, Division II championships. They'll give him a look. But the player who went to Clemson, who maybe not even getting no burn, who averaged maybe 5 points on his career, they'll go with him first.
Oh, wow.
They'll go with him over this player because they were really big at this time. They were really big on names. They're really big on, I guess, power and strength of schedule in terms of the type of basketball that you was exposed to. Because they look at it from this standpoint. If you got a 6'2" guy, he's filling it up. Yeah, that's cool and dope. But we got like 36 guys here in our country. Everybody wanted a LeBron James. Everybody wanted somebody that was 6'8", 6'10", 240, who could jump out the gym, who could razzle and dazzle you and do all these things. That's what all of them will want. You know what I'm saying? That made it more difficult because the majority of the players that I was attracting or people that were needing our services or whatever were people that were kind of falling in that 6 foot to 6'3", 6'4" Mo, point guard, shooting guard, who had really solid careers. But those players are a dime a dozen. They can get those over there. They got people in their country that can already do that. So they wanted somebody, that was, a lot bigger, a lot taller, a lot stronger. And if I could go back, one thing I would change, I'll say this, is that I probably would have reached out to more organizations, and found out exactly what they were needing instead of bringing them players. And, find out a little bit more about, what they would be able to pay my guys up front. So whenever I'm talking to people or trying to build more players to represent, I was just more in tune with the numbers in terms of, you going to this country or going to this country, you playing in this league or playing in that league. Those are some things that I wish I'd have been a little bit more versed in at that time. But it was a great experience. Never got blackballed. It was just a very difficult to navigate, and it's a lot of walls you run into if you don't have a lot of connections with big programs. And we were getting there. It's just something that we just we didn't have as much success as I would like. We placed a lot of guys, but if I had stayed in it longer, we could have really made some noise. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna take a real quick 30-second commercial break. Be right back and continue on with this interview. This is 910 Sports. Okay, we back here on 910 Sports. We have former FIBA agent Xavier Armfield. So Crystal, I'm gonna let you get the next question. So whatever, to take it away, Crystal.
How long were you a FIBA agent?
I want to think it's like maybe 2.5 years. 2.5 years. I think it was a little short of 3 years.
And how many players did you get over there? Did you send over there, or get to sign to a team?
I think it was 9. I think we ended up having 9 players total. And like I was saying, probably within the last 2 years, well, some of the last players that we placed have, just kind of retired. But yeah, it was 9 players total that we were able to place.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Had a lot of players that, again, like I said, we had a lot of players that we worked with, but yeah, we ended up having 9 total, and we ended up having the last 3 went to Germany, and 2 of them played on the same team. And like I said, I think that guy, he was from Atlanta. He was probably one of the last ones. And again, just to the point, every player that we placed probably was between 6'7". We had 1 7-footer.
Okay.
Between 6'7", 7 feet. And again, like I said, it was just referrals, man. We get calls from coaches, from players. Once the word got out, people would call us up all the time. And again, I guess in terms of the organizations and the communication that we would have with different programs, now it seems like with social media, things have grown so much. It seems like it would be maybe a little bit easier now than it was then. Not to say we were doing this back in the 80s or 90s, but it just seemed like it was just so much more difficult to get in contact with coaches or, with these presidents at that time. But now it's just seems like it's just so many. It seems like people are just more accessible now.
Right.
Than they were, 10 years ago, or So it was a good time. It was a good time, man.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to ask you too. Was that because of the fact that now the way it's set up now, it seemed like it would be a little bit easier to kind of get players overseas because of the fact that a lot of these players don't want to do the college, but they rather go a different route, whether it's the G League or overseas first and then come back. I mean, and at the same time that they are having success, you know what I'm saying, with LaMelo Ball and a couple other players going over there and to be able to transition back over here. So do you think, you know what I'm saying, if you got back into it, that it would be you know, a little bit easier as far as getting players set in position, or even if it wasn't FIBA, would you want to, you know, be an agent in one of the capacities?
Honestly, I just don't know if I would really want to get into being an agent. I guess what I didn't tell you is that when we stepped away from being just agents, we got more into marketing. And that began to be more of a passion for me. But to your point, I could be wrong, but yeah, I think it would be a little bit easier to, you know, get your product in front of someone in terms of marketing the players, because one, I think there's just more opportunities now because the sport has grown. The sport has grown, and there's more programs out there now. You know, there's different leagues. The leagues have expanded, even over there, even globally. You know, I think there's more teams, more opportunities to play. But at the same time, the pool has grown as well. You know, the amount of people, the interest, the amount of players that are playing has grown. So that's going to make it a little bit more challenging for the players. But I think, yeah, we'd have, you know, I think the success that I would have at this point would be I think the platforms and the information out there would be helpful, but I think more or less just the life knowledge lessons that I have, I would be able to apply those things. And I think those things would probably make me more successful in being able to utilize the resources that I have. I think those are the things that would kind of separate me in this particular market. But yeah, so when we shut down, you know, the whole agency, we decided to get it more into marketing. And we were doing a number of different things, fundraisers, marketing campaigns. But some of the fun stuff we did was we saw that within the school districts, you know, across the areas that the athletic departments had been defunded. And we sat back and we said, well, hey, you know, let's think of a way that we can help create some funding for these programs. So we partnered with a lot of booster clubs at high schools where we were able to sponsor and to facilitate golf tournaments for fundraising purposes, 5K races. So we started doing a lot of different fundraising things from a market, and doing a lot of marketing for the schools and from the sports programs. And those are some things that we really enjoyed. And that was kind of the later phase of Exposure Sports, the marketing side.
Okay, Jacob, you back? So you got any questions, Jacob?
Yeah, I got one final question, and I just want your take on it, Xavier, man. So, with you understanding basketball, and a lot of people may not understand the rules and regulations of overseas and the basketball teams over there and how they are. So, what is your take on Miss Brittany situation over there in Russia?
Man, it's interesting, man. I honestly haven't read a whole lot into it. Obviously, I know I know a little bit about her being detained for the cartridges or whatever while in Russia. I mean, it's a very inopportune time for this to take place for her.
Yeah.
You know, with everything that's taking place between Russia and the Ukraine, and even, I guess, the U.S. involvement and the tension that's building there, you know, that's on the front from, you know, things that are just going on in the country. I did read something the other day that I thought was kind of interesting, that the WNBA had discouraged the players from kind of speaking out about it in fear that, you know, it would cause some, I guess, a negative publicity may cause, you know, something negative to happen to Brittany, which I guess I could kind of understand. I think it's very unfortunate. I think it's sometimes she's kind of like, in a sense, a political pawn, because of some of the things that's going on. Of course, U.S. coming to, the aid or to the assistance or to the support of the Ukraine. And, one of the most, highly known, recognized, and talented female basketball players in the U.S., happens to be in that country, and, something like this comes about. I'm pretty sure she's not the only person that's had that type of substance or something, in their luggage when they're breezing through an airport. Unfortunately, it was her. Unfortunately, it's happening right now. And of course, it shines a light on the reason why she's even there. She's there trying to make a living. Yeah. And then now it shines more light on the inequality or the disparity in salaries between the NBA and the WNBA, and the fact that because of the money that she is or is not making, that a lot of times they have to go and supplement their income and play in a different country, just so they can actually continue the lifestyle that they become accustomed to. So I definitely raises a brow and forces us to have some discussions about a number of different topics. And, I hope again, I was watching a 60-minute interview the other day with Sue Bird, and, they were asking her some questions about it. And, she was, obviously she's had a historic career, UConn legend. And again, same thing, every season when their season ends, for years she's played in a different country, and she's been fortunate, obviously, to never have any situations like that happen. But they've been a great part. And that's one thing I want to say about females in basketball, man. If you sit back and you watch the game, their games are just as exciting.
It is
to watch,
Yeah.
And even from a fundamental standpoint, probably sometimes a little bit more fundamentally sound than some of the games you see the males play. And I agree. One of the only differences that they don't have is that they aren't marketed the same. They aren't given the same opportunities. They aren't given those same commercials. They're not given that same exposure. Because I do believe they could create marketing dollars. They could drive viewership. They could, pull in sponsors. But for some reason, those things aren't happening at the rate that they should. But Brittany Griner is an amazing basketball player, amazing talent. It's unfortunate. Hopefully she can, they can get this situation resolved and she can come home as soon as possible. I hate to see that this happen, but hopefully her situation and what's happened to her is the catalyst of something to, really, I guess, push for some change in the WNBA in terms of, their salary restrictions, hopefully open some more things up to prevent something like this from happening again. And, sometimes bad things happen and good results come from it. And I hope that's the situation with her.
Right. And I'm going to just say this, man. I'm going to need anybody, male or female, that's playing any sport overseas. I'm going to need you to just have your clothes and your personal stuff, man. I'm going to need you not to have no type of substance, man. No type of cartridges, no type of nothing, man. Because we really got to look at it, man. This is not the U.S., man. Like, this is in a whole nother different atmosphere, a whole nother different country. And even though you're playing a sport over there that you love, you still don't know their rules and their regulations and their law, because their laws overseas are quite different. You know what I mean? So,
I'm been playing over there for years, though.
That don't mean nothing, man, because you playing don't mean you know the laws.
I'm sure she did, though.
Okay,
I'm sure this isn't the first time.
But
I
I'm
think
saying, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure
timing.
she knew not to have substance. You know what I'm saying? Because Moscow, Russia is big on that. So as long as she's played there, means she should have been aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
The timing of everything.
My opinion on it is she should have been aware of it. She probably was aware of it, and she's probably been able to do it before.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was just a wrong day. The wrong person saw it.
Yeah.
And today we about to pull a card. And again, like I said, it's an inopportune time, some things that are going on, high profile player, whatever. Somebody saw a perfect opportunity to just really, put on blast, and that's what happened. And it's really nothing you can say because, like you said, the rules are out there. You know what I'm saying? It's just sometimes it's just when do they choose to enforce them? And it happens to people a lot in life. You know what I'm saying? People get away with things. They skate. They do this. They shouldn't be doing it. They do it. And then all of a sudden, sometimes somebody get called out on it. And sometimes it's the biggest one out of the group. That's how it happens. Yeah. Unfortunately. So,
before we get you out of here, Xavier, I just got a question. I know you say you're a big NBA guy.
Yeah.
So who do you feel like is going to be in the finals? Because with Kyrie Irving coming back, it's made things very, very interesting because that dynamic duo, we've never seen nothing like it. And even though I don't want to see it myself because I don't like how this whole thing this season played out, so I think it's bad for basketball how this whole thing went. For if they was to win a championship out of all of this, but in your opinion, what do you see it in the end?
Well, I definitely want to answer your question. I got an opinion on that, but what do you mean by it being bad and how it played out?
Because I just feel like the whole thing of, I never liked the way that the whole team got set up, where James Harden basically fluffed his way out of Houston, and then how Kyrie Irving, he's in and out, he's never really committed, all the time, and then I understand the whole he didn't want to get vaccinated, but just the whole way it went down, and then so I just felt like as far as like to the youth, it just don't look right to me. So I just never really. I was kind of like Charles Barkley. I just didn't want them to see them win, just because I just felt like they didn't put in the same commitment as the other 30 teams, not 29 teams together. So you know what I'm saying. And this Ben Simmons thing, that's a whole nother story. So
right.
So that's why I said I don't like that dynamic. So I would rather see. I'm gonna be more seeing if they can win 74 games next year if all three of them play together. If they are committed, then I would just like to see the way they're playing now. So I'm more curious about next year than this year. So that's why I said what I said. But me personally, I think it's going to end up being Phoenix and Milwaukee back in the finals. That's what I think it's going to be.
Well, I mean, I'm right there with you. I mean, I believe those are the two best teams. I mean, there's no denying it. In the Phoenix, I mean, you think about the West has some really good basketball teams. And just to give you an idea of how good Phoenix is 10 games better than everybody else. They up 9. Like, so you got some really good teams in the West. Now you think about it top to bottom, you got some very talented teams. Phoenix is 10 games better than them. And that's without Chris Paul for, a nice stretch. You know what I'm saying? So that lets you know how well they play together. So again, out of the West, I would say Phoenix without a doubt. Now, Memphis is young, but they are very impressive. For them to have, and again, having an MVP candidate in Ja Morant, and, with him playing at the level he's playing at right now, which is great to see, for them to have even that much success without him. I think they're like 13-2 or something crazy like that without him. So just to be able to plug him into that, they're young. I mean, that youth at some point is going to probably, at times it works for them, but down the stretch, historically, works against teams in the playoffs. I think they'll make things interesting, but Phoenix should definitely, rise to the top. And the East, man, it's kind of like a flip of a coin. I think Phoenix is the best team, but everybody's like within a game or two of each other, right? In the top 4 teams, you know what I'm saying? So it's really tight. Miami's playing great, man. Boston's been playing phenomenal here recently. But I just think at the end of the day, Giannis is a problem. Giannis is a huge problem. I mean, his versatility offensively, I mean, he's just extremely strong, big, agile. He runs like a freaking deer. I mean, he's just it's difficult to, and how his game has expanded. And then his sidekick, Chris Middleton, mid-range game for days. I'm talking about 30, 40, what you need. I mean, and they have size defensively. They got chip on their shoulder. They're champions. They're going to be a tough out. So I would agree with you at this point. I would say Phoenix and Milwaukee. But I'd be remiss of it and say, man, Lakers still got a shot. The Lakers, we still got a shot, man. I'm gonna leave it at that. We still could make some noise, man. We could.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, man. Can you give everybody social media and stuff like that?
Man. I guess you can catch me on Facebook or Instagram. I mean, Xavier Armfield. You can find me there. I'm not hard to find. Also, if you like to join us on Facebook, we have a sports forum called Exposure Sports Forum, where daily we discuss sport topics, debate sport topics, current events, things going on in the sports world. More than welcome to join that. And again, it's been a pleasure talking with each and every one of y'all. I was telling Jacob a long time ago, man, I was hoping to link up. And even you, Icon, I think we spoke once, right?
Yeah.
And my schedule's just been really busy this last year, and the process was just work and just moved, bought a new house and new baby, and finally getting kind of settled in on some things. So I wanted to link up with you, and hopefully we can link up again in the future, man. But thank you, Crystal. It's always great to see Crystal, man. I've been knowing Crystal, for years, man. Of course, like she said, Jake was saying earlier, growing up in Greenwood, and I've been knowing him. So I know Jake. I know his brother. We went to college together, and I know so many people from his hometown and have formed relationships with them over the years. And it's just really, I feel like family. So it's always good to link up with you all and to see you doing something that I love, just kind of being in the sports world, being in the industry, being able to offer something and to create a platform to share ideas and just kind of push things forward, man. So much respect to what you're doing. Wishing you all as much success as possible, and definitely looking forward to link up with you, hopefully again in the future.
Yes, sir.
Man,
yes,
I appreciate you coming on, man. You have a blessed day, and congratulations on the baby.
Thank you so much, man. Y'all have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday.
All right, we're going to take a quick 30-second break, and we're going to be back on with our second guest this morning. This young lady been waiting. So we're going to be back in like 30 seconds after we take this quick commercial break. This 910 Sports.
Can I leave? I got to stay.
Okay, we back here on 910 Sports. I'm going to let Jacob introduce this young lady, and we'll get this interview started.
Hey, Dane, how you doing today? Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Jacob.
Is someone on my microphone?
Hello, can you hear me?
No, she was muted.
Am I muted?
Not anymore.
I'm not muted.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Hey, Dane, how you doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
Great. Thank you for coming to 901 Sports Podcast. We're so glad to have you and so excited to hear about your journey. Now, guys, this is Dyani Dennis, high school basketball star. She's the daughter of Clemson standout Jessica Barr. which she's Jessica Dennis now. And she's at B&L High School, Baseball Elizabeth High School. And, just wanted to bring her on to talk about her journey on the basketball court and her leadership off the basketball court, as well as on the basketball court. So welcome.
Thank you for having me. And my name is Dyani.
Dyani, okay. My bad. So, Crystal, since you are a former female basketball high school star, I'll go ahead and let you start off with the question.
Okay. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. Your mother coaches you, right?
Yes,
She's a
ma'am.
Vicksburg. Okay. So how hard is it to play for your mother?
Really, it's not really that hard. I feel like people expect more out of me, but just because that's my mom, but like it's not hard at all. It's like she's my coach. Like I learned how to separate my mom from my coach.
Gotcha. So Jessica was I actually went to school with your aunt, Angela, your aunt, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we went to Morris together. And when I first met her, we had just seen your mom play at Clemson. They played I want to say they played the USA team, like in '96 or something. And when I got to Morris, I saw her, and me and my homegirl was like, "Oh man, she a superstar." We really thought, she was, but we was like really amazed, and we was like, "Angela, that's your sister?" And we was like real like, "Oh, your sister a superstar," and all this stuff, and we was just like, we were like really amazed. So, and I know she's like a big deal in Batesburg. So, do they have those same expectations on you when you at home?
Yeah. They be killing me.
Well, it seemed like from what I've read that you living up to the hype though, right?
Something like that.
Something like that. Okay. And what position do you play?
I play point guard, small forward, power forward, and something else, man. No, I think that's it.
Okay. All right.
Look, Goat James in here.
Yeah.
So what age did you start playing basketball? Like when you really got into it?
I started playing like when I was 6, but then like once I got into middle school and started playing for my school, I think that's when I became like very serious about the game.
Okay, so were you one of those kids that was in the backyard or somewhere when you had on your off time, like shooting basketballs till the street lights came on, or somewhere
Yeah,
where they had to pull you in the house because you was into it so much?
yeah.
Oh, okay. So, you got a question?
Yeah. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. So who inspires you as far as like maybe who do you model your game after? Like if you had to pick somebody.
I would definitely say my mama. She,
Dope.
I
Dope.
seen the stuff that she did when she was around my age, all the way up until she stopped playing, and I get very inspired. And I hope someday be like her.
Okay. And question, I'm probably jumping ahead of somebody, but who do you have winning it all on the ladies' side of the March Madness, the NCAA tournament?
My team, South Carolina. Going all the way.
How you
Hey, look,
You mean you're not a
they
Clemson
need
fan?
Mm-mm.
look.
oh,
South Carolina legs looked a little shaky the other night. I was like, they was looking a little, they was looking a little shaky, but they finished it out though. So yeah.
Yeah.
so Steve, you got a question?
Yeah, I do. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. As far as recruiting or playing at the next level, I know you talked about your mom at you like South Carolina. Sounds like, is there been any talk or any discussion, or do you have a preference as far as staying close to home, playing abroad, or you want to go to college, WNBA? Like, what do you see ideally your path career-wise?
Um, I'd like to, play somewhere close to here, you know, and just really, I don't know.
Mm.
I haven't really thought about it like that.
Okay. Okay. So Jacob, you got a question?
Yeah. So now, with you playing three different positions, how does each position help you advance your game?
I feel like so I'm left-handed and I've always struggled with my right hand, but being that I had to step up and play point guard, I feel like I practiced and worked on working with my right hand with everything, and I feel like I've gotten better. And just being able to be strong on the block, and helping out my team the best way I can.
Okay. So upon you saying that, I've been knowing your family for years. I played against OJ and Josh and Franco, and all of them. So, upon you saying that, what are your particular things? 'Cause this is what I heard yesterday. I heard when you're not on the floor, the team loses momentum. I heard you have to be on the floor for the team to strive. So this is what I heard from some people that I know in your area. So I wanted to ask you. So what is that leadership like for you on the floor, and what is that leadership for you like off the court as well?
Um, so honestly, when I sit down and I like look at the team, I notice that we're very young, and we really don't have like we didn't have leaders like that. And so when we lost some of our players, I realized I had to step up or it wasn't going to be a good season. And honestly, I just talked to my other teammates that's in my class, like on the court and off the court. I would just be like, we got to sit down and talk about this. We got to do this. We got to do that, and basically just taking the role as a leader because I feel like if not me, then who?
Okay, okay. And so, what do you feel about how playing AAU in the summer help players advance their game for the next season, for the next up and coming season? So, are you do you see the type of progress from playing AAU from from people who don't play AAU from people who do?
Yeah, I do. I feel like they have like so much time to work on what they need to work on, and when the season starts, they just keep working on it, and it'll get better.
Okay, 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 okay. And so you have some pretty high end type stats. So is basketball your main sport, or are you a two or three sport athlete?
Basketball is my main sport.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. Appreciate that, Chris. I'm gonna give it back to you.
Oh, I don't have a question right now.
You have a question?
No.
Okay. So I got a question. So basically, out of all the things that you do great on the court, especially being a point guard, what gets you most excited or makes you feel best about a game? Is it scoring? Is it assisting? Is it seeing one of your other players on the team get off in a particular game? What excites you the most when you're on the court?
I feel like when we're all on the court and we're all doing what we're supposed to be doing, everybody's scoring, everybody's, getting assists. I feel like that's what makes me really excited. And yeah.
Okay, so who, other than your mom, who was like your favorite player? Well, I would go two ways. Who on the male side and the female side, both on besides your mom, who's it? Some of the players that you like watching to play, whether it's because you like their game because your game is similar or whatever. You just like watching them play.
Oh, I don't watch male basketball, but I like Zaya Cook.
Zaya Cook.
I
Okay,
like watching.
okay, okay. So y'all have to
Okay.
name who's Zaya Cook. I'm not familiar with her. I may have to watch
Uh,
her.
yeah, South Carolina Gamecocks, man.
Okay,
Come on.
got you,
Come on
got you,
now,
got you.
Icon.
I'm
Hey,
sorry.
man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I watch some college basketball, but I ain't gonna lie. I'm not. But I start watching it. I'm not familiar with her, but I definitely start watching Zaya Cook. Keeping up with her.
We
Um,
got you, dog. Stay
huh?
fine. I said, you got to, man. South Carolina, they fight. I got my daughter watching it now. She
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
girls play ball. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I watch
Yeah,
more the WNBA than I do the college basketball. I probably ain't really watched girls college basketball really like that since Diana Taurasi and you know what
Wow,
I'm
that's
saying.
been
Like,
20 years. Come on, bro. Come on.
yeah, I mean, I
Teenager.
watch the games when they're in the tournament, but I don't really know the players like that. Like, I just watch other than the ones that's in the WNBA. Like, you know what I'm saying. But Diana Taurasi, that's like my favorite all-time player. For a couple of different reasons, but I know everybody else got their own. But other than Cheryl Swoops from back in the day, that's probably one of my favorite ones. But other than that, as far as when you do pursue college, if you do pursue college, do you already have other than possibly making it to the WNBA? Do you have a goal to get to college and do something specific other than what would what would you go to college for?
I've always said I wanted to go to college and participate in a nursing program ever since I was a little girl. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Okay, so no,
So do you want to go to USC?
Go ahead, Crystal.
So do you want to go to USC? Because they have a good nursing program.
I haven't really thought about those schools. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So were you like a
Yeah.
sophomore?
I'm a
What year of
junior.
high school you? Junior. Okay, junior. So the colleges the colleges haven't even started like offering and coming out to the games yet.
I don't think so.
Okay, so do you think that's because a lot of reason why you may not know this, but a lot of reason why we start this platform because I started this platform because I come from a small town in North Carolina and players like yourself who are very great players don't get the same looks as some of the bigger schools in the same state, in the same area. And so we start this platform to shine light and to get and shine attention. So do you think where you're at is part of the reason why it may be a slower process or why you're not getting that look because of the area that you're in?
Yeah, but I never let that stop me. I just continue to play my game. And yeah.
So are your coaches doing anything to like kind of get your name out there as far as like sending your tapes to these schools or making sure that you're participating in like different other college organizations, basketball like AAU and things of that nature? Because I know some coaches discourage playing outside of their team, whatever the team is doing. So are your coaches doing anything to help you on that front?
Yeah, they've introduced me to camps and stuff like that once before.
Okay. So anybody else got a question?
yeah, sure. So upon you being a super great player, on the high school level, how important for you is it to for your teammates to understand the relationship that a player and coach has to have, as far as within the team, because a lot of times when a player and coach has a great relationship, then and that player is the one that leads the team, that endures a lot of the other players on the team to really get close to the coach as well. So how important is that for you to make them understand that we definitely have to have a great relationship with the coach?
It's actually very important to me because I feel like if you're not coachable, then we're not gonna get anywhere. You have to be coachable, and I feel like you have to be respectful because they're not gonna tell you nothing that's wrong. So I feel like a close relationship with your coach is very important, especially if it's your mama.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. So then we're gonna as far as academically and athletically, you know, how does someone balance the two when they involved in sports? So how is that balance for you as far as, keeping a high GPA and staying at the top of your game and advancing in your game on every level?
I had to learn how to, balance the two. Like I had to, of course, put my grades first, and then basketball second, because student athlete, student comes first. So, I just made time for what I was supposed to do, and still made sure I was doing what I was supposed to do on the court.
Okay. So and I did read that you made all region. So how was
Congratulations.
that?
Thank
How was
you.
that for you? How was that for you making all region? And was you expected to make all region, or was it a surprise to you?
It was definitely a surprise to me. My mama had called me when I was in class after she got out of the meeting, and she told me, and I kind of shed a little tear because I really wasn't expecting that. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know. I don't know. It was a
Well,
surprise.
I mean, I guess is the is hard work pays off. So and when we don't expect things, great things happen, and so I guess that is what definitely happened to you. So congratulations again,
Thank
and
you.
and you welcome. Now with you being who you are, and your mama have some remarkable stats at Clemson. So if a bigger school like Clemson should offer you, as USC should offer you, and you might have the Tar Heels offer you, or you might have some HBCs that offer you, or some smaller schools like even if I know you say you want to stay close to home, even if it's outside the state, is it depending on the school and what school is that offers you? Does they have a decision on where you'll go play it?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're asking. Can you say that again?
I said, even though you said that you want to stay close to home and play on the collegiate level, even if the school is, a bigger school and can give you more exposure, would you think about going outside the state as well?
Oh, well, yeah, I would.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. That's all I have right now. You have anything, Steve?
Yeah, I got one. Can you beat your mama?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you're gonna
Do
get in
y'all play?
trouble,
Do
man.
Yeah,
y'all?
that probably let your mama know you ready. Because if
Do
you
y'all?
always can beat your mama, she a superstar. They know she know you ready.
How often do y'all play against each other? Do y'all have one-on-one games still?
Can you say that again?
How often do you and your mom play against each other? Do y'all still have one-on-one games to this day?
No, she don't get out on the court no more.
You don't get
She
on
know
court.
not to play with me.
Steve, you know how this works. Once your child beat you in a sport, you gotta retire.
I ain't got there yet. I'm close. I ain't got there.
Yeah. Once your child beat you in a sport, you gotta retire.
Or once you get a certain age, you already know that you can't get on the court because you got to go to work the next day. You can't be pulling no hamstring or having no torn ACL, man. What?
You
You
have
right.
to
You
change the
right.
rules. You have we going to 5. My
Right.
ball first.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
Going to 3.
You going to
Oh,
3.
man.
First
So,
person to score is over with.
I having a parent, because I have a parent that wrestled, and I went to wrestling in high school. So my dad is still a certain age to grab you and expect you to react a certain way. So I just wondered, like, having a mom that played, having a mom that coaches you now, is it little stuff you'll be doing? So you just be dribbling regular. She'll be like, no, you need to use your left hand more, or no, you need to use the other hand more, or no, that ain't how you need to be shooting. Your form ain't right. Is this something like? Is she always coaching you throughout the day, or is it?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
I have a question. What position do you like playing the best?
Small forward.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Hey,
your
you
mom was
tall.
tall. Yeah.
Yeah, you tall.
She play no games.
Yeah,
Hey,
Got me
hey,
beat.
hey, bro. 5'10", play small forward. That means that she can get you down there on the block too, and take that thing to the cup too. So you know what I mean, and she only a junior, so that means she ain't stopped growing.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So 5'10" running point, yeah, That's
What's
like that.
what's your like your go-to move? Like you know you feeling it. You know what I'm saying? Is it a 3-point ball? Is it a mid-range? Is it driving
Euro.
to the cup? So what's your
Euro.
go-to move when you feeling it?
Euro.
I always like to pump fake and drive to the basket. If he getting them every time.
Okay. What's your career high? You know what your career high is?
Is it 22?
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Is that the game that you had 22 points and 13 rebounds?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's
And
up.
how did y'all team do this year though? What was y'all record?
I have no idea. But you know what? For us to be so young
She
and
said
we
she
lost
just
a
played.
lot of players, we did all right.
Okay.
Okay. We come back harder next year.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So let me ask you a question. What do you think about how they always changing up teams that, like when I was in school, we played the same teams all the time, but now they change up the region so much, you don't really know which team you're gonna play from year to year unless it's a rival team. So, but they change the region up so much nowadays. So, what do you think about how they change the region up?
I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, it's not like new competition. Like that's it. Like I don't really think too much of it. I just go out there and play.
Yeah, because I'm connected with a lot of coaches, so I hear a lot of coaches talk about it and how they change the region and they don't like just how they just be changing the region and this team will be 3A 1 year, then to go down to 2A, or this team will be 3A, then to go up to 4, then go back down to 3A. So, but I tell them with the amount of students that you have now, and then so things change all the time because students is transferring a lot. Like a lot of kids from Batesburg transferred to Gilbert. A lot of kids from Gilbert transferred to White Knoll. So I mean, it's changing all the time. So what are you thinking about kids transferring like that? So vividly now, like it happens so much now. And do you think that is it kind of takes the talent away from the original school they went to, or do you think they doing what's best for them?
Sometimes I just be feeling like they doing what's best for them. You know, getting away, getting better opportunities and stuff like that.
Okay. So that's all I have for now, guys. Anybody else want to follow with anything?
No, that's all. That's all we have. So we definitely want to appreciate the fact that you came on this morning. I do want to apologize. If it was a miscommunication, the time you're supposed to come on. And I know young people don't like to get up too early in the morning, so we might disturb your sleep. But and the fact that you was early, and that's a tribute to you. That means you was raised right because you know what I mean. For you to come on 5-10 minutes early like you did, that definitely means you come from good stock. Because that's one of the biggest problems with us with people sometimes is not being on time for stuff. So for you to be a young person and to understand the value of coming on here and being on time, when you could have been anywhere else and not come on at all, I do thank you for that. So if you got any like social media or anything like that you want people to follow you at, then let us know what that is or any shout outs you want to give.
Oh, I don't want people following my social media, but shout out to my family. I love them so much, and without them, I wouldn't be here. And shout out to my man.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, I love
That's my man.
Oh, Lord.
it.
Ariana, get out the room.
Yeah, you
Tell my daughter got here.
I ain't even your daddy. You got me over here upset. You got me.
Kick my baby out of here. Get out this room.
I got a daughter. She's a little bit older than you, so when she was 16, she talking about a man, boy. Woo! I got to pull my gun out.
That's why she don't want y'all following
My
her.
mama and my ain't like that joke, so I gotta
Exactly right. That's why she don't want y'all to follow social media. You got it.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I know. But I appreciate you this morning, and you have a great and blessed day, young lady. And,
Thank you. You too.
all the success for you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna go to a quick another 30-second break. We're gonna come back and continue this conversation. This your boy Icon E here on 910 Sports. Okay, we back. We back.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
910 Sports, or whatever. So basically, man. So getting back into these conversations. So Crystal, no, you came a little late this morning. So
you was throwing shots at me when you was saying how she was early and how I was late. So you was throwing shots at me, Icon?
I wasn't talking about you. To be honest
hey,
with you.
KB, he was like, yeah, you was raised right because you was 5 to 10 minutes early.
Right. I was on time today, so I was like, he ain't talking to me.
Hey, I wasn't talking about you, but you know that old saying, hit dog holler?
Yeah, I'm out here hollering.
Me too, Crystal. I'm with you. I thought he was talking about me.
No, I wasn't even talking about none of y'all, to be honest with you. But you know what I'm saying? A hit dog do holler. So, but now what I was gonna say was, I said my worst nightmare came true last night. I couldn't even finish watching the game.
Oh, what? We gonna have to play Duke?
Yeah. Not that we gotta play Duke. Not we gotta play.
No, they ain't gotta play Duke. They don't play Duke. It'll be the finals before we get to see. There's a rematch Coach K won't though. You know that, don't you?
I mean, but not even that. The fact that they made it.
No, they play. No, North Carolina play St. Peter's today.
Yeah, but if they win, I thought they played Duke.
No, they go to the
I think we have to play. I think they. Okay. No, we get our other rematch. We get our Villanova rematch. I think.
Yeah,
and then Duke have to play Kansas. So I want Villanova. I won't.
Villanova's tough though.
They tough, but they not. Put it like this. I was gonna post this last night. I think Jay Wright is the best coach in basketball now that Coach K is leaving and Roy Williams is gone. Mm-hmm. I think Jay Wright is the best coach in college basketball because if you look what he's done with that program over the last several years, they've been in the Final Four and won championships like twice in the last 5 or 6 years, and Villanova is not necessarily considered, in the same class as some of those other schools, even though they've been around for a while. They're not in the same classes. For him to put them in this situation where Villanova every year is viable. But I'm just watching them play. And the thing about it is they're limited on the way they score. They just very deliberate. They slow the ball down, and every shot is kind of like, is like, okay, they take high percentage shots or shots they know they can make. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like if Carolina play their game, if they play the way they're capable of playing, they can beat anybody in the country.
Your boy gonna have to be up the A game. What's your big man name that can't shoot free throws?
You talking about Brady?
No, Baycott.
Baycott.
Hold on.
Baycott has to be up the A game. I'm just being real. He gonna have to.
Time out, Steve-O. He been hitting free throws this year. He
ain't been hitting him in this tournament though.
He is not. He probably shooting 59% or something like that. Icon for real. He been missing every other free throw he shoot.
No, he shoots 60. I think like 66%. I think.
Yeah, this tournament he been shooting bad.
He was hitting them against UCLA. He was hitting them.
Well, this is what I'm gonna say. This is what I'm gonna say about Villanova, man. Villanova is a team that they like slash into that basket, and they got three or four people that that'll slow the ball down, and then they'll take off to the basket. So, what I'm most scared of about North Carolina playing Villanova, that it can put a lot of people in foul trouble early if they slash to the basket like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Because think about Carolina, we do foul a lot. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that drives me crazy. We foul way too much, or whatever. Now today's game, because I don't want us to get everybody already putting us in the Final Four.
Yep.
St. Peter's is a very tough team.
Yes,
they play like they coach or whatever. They tough, they gritty. They gonna get up in you. The one thing that we gonna have to do, which we do very well, is rebound. But we definitely gonna have to rebound the ball today because them guards is not gonna really be able to get off like they want to because we're playing against a team that has 4 guards. So our guards is not our big men gonna have to be the ones to dominate because I don't think our guards gonna really be able to get off like they want to today.
and I couldn't. Along with that, I ain't seen a team that press the ball like St. Peter. When I say press the ball, they press the ball, man. You know what I mean? And so when you got a team that press the ball all through the game, bro, that bring a different element. That bring a different element on how you play. And
You
then
also get tired.
You
also get tired.
And then, Crystal, the question arises me: how can Hubert Davis, as a coach, change the narrative? Like how can he make adjustments?
In fairness to Hubert Davis, he been getting a hard time or whatever, but he just earned himself an extra like $400,000, I think, by making it to the
Final Four,
to the Elite 8. So he had to do his contract or whatever. But I think you do have to give him credit because people been killing him, including myself. Well, I ain't been killing him, but I ain't been high on him either. But people been killing him all year. You got to give them credit for it. Even if they lose today, even if they lose, you still got to give them credit because of where that team was and how they look, how Icon even can't, how we was talking about how they look or whatever. He does have them playing the way they're supposed to be playing. So you got to give them credrit for that.
But they lose today. I'm just telling you.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, you deserve to get clowned, but I'm saying like in a more like less fan perspective. I think
I got
you.
That's true.
Chris, I'm not saying that he don't know the game, but what I'm saying during the season and crunch times, you have to make adjustments.
I agree.
You have to change the narrative. Like if you look at the way Dawn Staley coaches, she makes adjustments, man. You know what I mean? She makes adjustments, and if you look at the way the coach from Arkansas coach, he makes adjustments all through the game, man. Like when if he feel like they slipping just a little bit, he gonna make some adjustments. And that's my thing with Hubert. I'm not saying he don't know the game. I know he know the game of basketball, but in crucial times, you definitely got to make adjustments, man.
I think it's a learning process too, because this is his first time being that head coaching role. Instead of sitting on the sideline telling the players like as an assistant coach, I think it's a little different now being the head coach. Learn throughout the season how to put those adjustments in real time. Whereas the beginning, I don't think he really had that concept down pat, or his assistants may not have had that process down pat. But I think now they've gotten better with it. And Jacob, that's to your point, what you just said. Beginning of the year, he didn't look like he was making adjustments, or if he did, the players weren't receptive to the adjustments. But now it looked like in a timeout, they look like a completely different team coming out of a timeout sometimes.
So maybe they bought in.
Well, they said after the Wake Forest game when they got blown out, the players went in the locker room and sat in the locker room for several hours, and they sat down and talked about where they wanted the season to go and how they could get better until they came with an understanding of what they needed to do. And then after that, they kind of took off and started winning a bunch of games. And of course, they beat Duke along the way or whatever. The players kind of took control of the situation or whatever more so than them just starting to listen to you.
You said they won a bunch of games.
They won a bunch of games and they beat whom? Like who? What you saying, man? I mean, it was a little staticky, man. It was like what you say? Say it loud for the people in the back. Because this is Sunday morning, so we're gonna take them to church.
You said, hold on, I missed what you was trying to ask me. What you trying to ask me?
I said you said they won a bunch of games after the Wake Forest blowout, and they beat who? We gonna say it for
Oh,
the people on the back of the church pool. Say it loud for the people in the bank.
they beat Duke. That's what they beat.
Oh, Duke. Are you talking about Coach K's Duke?
Yes, I'm talking about Coach K's Duke. That's who we
Oh,
beat.
okay. So you're not talking about, Coach
Go on, man.
K,
Go on.
who?
Go
I
on.
mean, Steve. Oh, I just really think you're really quiet right now. You must be eating a biscuit or something. Why are you quiet,
Well,
Mr. Georgia?
So we had the high schoolers on here earlier, man. I couldn't really do my thing, so I'll just be quiet, man. Yeah.
Mr. I mean, because I know you always talk about Duke a lot. Man, Duke this, Duke that,
I like Coach K, man.
And Coach K, my boy, he called me, said we going fishing on Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they didn't. You see, they couldn't keep on going to that question. They asked him last night, Icon, who you want to play in the next round? Is it North Carolina? He's like, oh yeah, you ain't gonna get me this time because you got me last. They said North Carolina, then they fucked around and lost to Syracuse. They lost to, I think, in the tournament.
Who did? Who Duke?
Yeah, Blacaro. What's his name? Pablo.
Blacaro.
Yeah, they asked him like, who do you prefer to play in the finals, North Carolina or St. Peter's? And last time they asked him that question, he answered, and then they messed around and got blown out by the team before they can even get to North Carolina. So,
okay. Well, I mean, to be honest, I'm gonna tell you like this. I thought about this too, though. Last week when Carolina let Baylor get back in the game, I said that's the best thing that ever could have happened to them. Because if they would have blew them out and kept blowing them out by 20 something, I think they would have lost to UCLA. Because I think that would have they would have been way too overconfident in that game, and that's been Carolina's problem this year. They'll win a game by 20 something, and then come back and lose by 20 the next game, and you be scratching your head like what just happened. And I think by them that made them kind of focusing it even more, and especially when they knew what UCLA represents, because UCLA got some balls. And so they had to come, and they knew they had to come with their A game this week. But if they would have blew Baylor out the way they was blowing them out, I think they would have came in not focused. So I think that kind of helped them out. The only problem I got with Hubert Davis is, and it drove me crazy with Roy Williams sometimes, they don't call timeouts. A team go on a 10-2 run.
No run, and he'll sit there looking with his arm.
They'll wait till the TV timeout, and I don't like that. Like
Phil
sometimes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They think they Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
But you ain't got Kobe or Mike out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. So sometimes you got to pull them boys. You got to think you're dealing with young kids. You got to put them to the sideline sometime and get their mind back, their head back in the game. Because last week when they started losing against when old boy got kicked out the game, Manning.
Oh yeah,
they panicked because all of a sudden he was the one that was
terrible call too. Terrible.
Yeah, you think so, Chris? You can't put your arm.
It was a terrible ejection though. He shouldn't have been ejected.
Yeah, I flagrant one.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been ejected for that.
Yeah.
So let me ask y'all this. Now, Crystal, you remember when we grew up watching basketball, college basketball, right? Mm-hmm. And you remember when people used to talk about college basketball, and they used to hear older men who was heavy into the college basketball realm. He was like, man, they got 10 players that they can put on floor anytime. And if the first 5 get tired, they got 5 more they can put out there that can control the game and still hold the composure of the game. Mm-hmm. Do you think nowadays that teams have that?
No.
No. I mean, obviously some teams do. But that's usually most people don't even 5 in, 5 out anybody anyway, unless you're blowing a team out in the first place. Because you always keep players, your veteran players, somebody on the floor. I also think that's part of why Hubert Davis doesn't make all these adjustments, because things that have happened in the game, like the Baylor game, they were having problems handling the ball. Clearly, he had nobody else who could handle the ball, because the way he was passing the ball in, because you should know how to break a press. Like everybody fundamentally who plays basketball knows the concept of how to break a press. You don't go in the corners. That's where they gonna trap you at. So, but they couldn't dribble. So in my mind, I'm like, put somebody in who can dribble. Clearly, he don't have nobody who can really handle the ball. I mean, Baylor's a really good defensive team, and UCLA didn't do that, so you didn't see no ball handling problems. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know if he has all the personnel to make the adjustments that you think that he should make. I don't know. He doesn't go 10. He doesn't go 5 deep off his bench.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying, like you saying handle the ball. Like at one time, like when we was growing up, unless you was a big man that was predominant on just rebounding and cleaning up the basket and never came out the box, like most other people, even some of the power forwards, they had some ball handling skills. And I think that your starting force should have. Now I'm not gonna say the force should have ball handling skills like the 1, 2, and the 3, but it is the people that played 4 that had some great ball handling skills. And so why don't you think that everybody have good ball handling skills like they once did? You know, like we gonna take the 1, 2, and the 3 out, but a lot of like back in the day, like if you could play us like back in the day, you know, like Rasheed was a big guy. Rasheed had ball handling skills in college. You know what I mean? He can handle the ball in college. You know what I mean? You had even a big man that played 5. Brad Darby had good ball handling skills and good passing skills. You know what I mean? Chris Webber could handle the ball somewhat and had good passing skills in college.
Yeah, but I don't know if you want them you don't want them bringing the ball up the court on a press though. You know what I'm saying?
No. I ain't talking about bringing the ball up the court. I'm just talking about
but yeah, they can handle the ball. But more players can do that now than they could then. It's because like even earlier when Xavier, like it's becoming positionless basically.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a 6'10" can handle the ball. So I think they're more versatile as far as that goes. But you still have to be in the moment though. I think the moment is big.
You mean it's funny you say that, Crystal, because yesterday, like the end of the game, I thought about this when Carolina got up by 3 in the last minute, and they had to pass the ball in. The players understood not to go to the corners to get trapped. So when they threw the ball in, they kind of got in the middle of the floor and was able to push the ball up the court to get fouled. And whatever. And I think last week, you know, what they went through against Baylor made them kind of that's the adjustment they made of if you get in those situations, don't go to the corner, because that's where a lot of players make the mistake. Even if they're great ball handlers, they go to the corner, and then it's easy to trap you if you go to the corner. Right. So I think that, like you were saying, Carolina have 2 ball handlers. They got R.J. Davis and they got Caleb Love. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, Leaky Black can handle the ball a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying, as far as ball handlers. But I think what a lot of times it comes to fundamentally understanding how to pass the ball up the court. Because even when I was taught playing basketball back in the day, it wasn't you weren't supposed to dribble your way out of a press. You're supposed to pass your way out of a press. So everybody's supposed to space out, and you're supposed to be able to pass the ball a certain way to get the ball up the court out of a press, not necessarily just dribble out of the press. You
think y'all have a problem today, Icon?
Next time.
Think y'all gonna have a problem with that today? Because they press hard all game.
Yes and no. I think that they may give us a little issues, but the one thing we've always been taught, our big men run up the court. They know how to run. They like deer. So I think we're going to end up getting a lot of easy baskets too off of it, because
so once you get the 2 easy baskets, they're gonna break out that press.
That's what I'm saying. So
you can't keep doing it, give it the easy baskets.
Exactly, because we're so much bigger than them. We'll be able to maybe get a lot of easy baskets too off of that if we can get the ball up the court.
Well, it depends on if they behind or not. Because like Baylor pressed for 10 minutes, and then like if Baylor would have had like maybe 3 more minutes, they probably would have beat us. But they ran out of time and they got tired because they were pressing for 10 minutes straight. They got the turnovers, but they got tired. So when they went to it went to overtime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it went to overtime, they weren't pressing.
Yeah.
They were tired.
Yeah.
They didn't finish. So St. Peter's been pressing this whole time. you eventually gonna get tired.
Yeah, that's hard to do. That's hard,
That's
to
hard to
play
do.
that
It
type,
really
to
is.
play like that for 40 minutes. I don't care how much you do it or how good you are. That's going when your drilling already gonna be flowing.
Right.
So the excitement of being in a game like this, that's gonna eventually catch up to you because that's gonna take some of your energy away. And then you playing that hard, and it may not necessarily affect them on the defensive end, but it may affect them on the offensive end taking shots.
Yeah, it
taking
might.
those
Yeah.
they may miss those 3-pointers and those baskets they normally would make. They probably not gonna make those baskets. And then on top of that, you got these big men leaning on you. You know what I'm saying? You got these because we bigger and we bigger and stronger at every position. We may not be faster, but we bigger and stronger probably at every position on the court. You know what I'm saying? Now with us, we only play 6-7 deep. So we
might be
very
tired.
well, we might be tired, or they can help us in our conditioning because you already used to playing 35, 40 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Where we were under Roy Williams, most of the players were playing like 20, 25 minutes.
They got 4 guards though. See, that's what I think they're successful at doing what they do with those 4 guards.
Yeah.
That's why also like Crystal said, I don't think they get tired like that. I think they're able to use them 4 guards and able to know how to do it so good now that at this point I don't necessarily see them getting tired, but I see if you guys can break the press with the big you got, they'll back out of it real quick though. That's what I think. I think if you break the press 2 or 3 times, get some easy dunks, they're gonna come up out of there.
Yeah, I don't know because that's who they are. I mean, and if you listen to Hasheem Holloway, the way he talks, you know what I'm saying? He I think it's whoever they are. Whoever they are, that's who they're gonna be.
Right.
So I think he's gonna be one of them kind of stubborn coaches. They're gonna play the way they play. You know, they ain't gonna change it anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes that work and sometimes that don't, but you just stay true to what got you there.
Who you are, yeah.
So
exactly.
Because
if they fall back out of it and go half court, they ain't got a chance half court. You know what I'm saying? We set up half court. You know what I'm saying? Amanda Baycott may get 30 rebounds a day if we depending on half court because he already getting you 15 rebounds on a regular night.
I hope
now you going against a bunch of midgets.
I hope
you know what I'm saying. He might get some rebounds or not.
You hope what?
Hope he go off. I want a rematch. It's perfect. To me, it's just like a perfect ending to the story for Kobe.
It really is. If somehow it's North Carolina and Duke, it will be the perfect ending for real.
It'll be a perfect ending.
Or
a real bad ending. It's gonna be perfect or real bad. So
the only 2 teams I see beating Duke now at this point would be the Carolina or Kansas.
Oh, Kansas. Yeah, they don't have the caliber of Vancaro, period. They don't even have nobody in his stratosphere on St. Peter's.
Yeah, St. Peter's don't. Miami a gritty, good team, but I don't see them beating Duke if Duke got right there at the cusp of winning. I just think talent-wise, Carolina and Kansas only went 2 teams talent-wise that can keep up with Duke at this point. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing about with Duke is that old school Duke. They got a point guard who's gritty, who can make big shots. They got a superstar playing Bancaro.
It's really the man though. That's the crazy Mike Will, that big dude.
Yeah. He could jump out the gym. You know what I'm saying? He's strong. You know what I'm saying? And Wendell Moore make big shots. And they got AJ Griffin is a 3-point hitter. So they got all the makers of being a great team. You know what I mean? They're getting over the hump. I ain't gonna even front. You know what I'm saying on this one. You know what I'm saying? And we kind of the same way. We kind of got
yeah.
Our only problem is our 2 point guards can't go off in the same game. It's the weirdest thing. RJ Davis and Caleb Love never go off in the same game. You know what I'm saying? So if we could ever get them to go off in the same game, we'd be all right. But anyway, y'all, man, it's been a great show. I want to thank our first guest this month, Xavier Armfield, for coming on. Former FIBA coach, so we learned agent. We learned a lot from basketball and everything from him this morning. And then the young lady Diana, I think I pronounced her
Dyani.
Yeah, so my country ass probably pronounced it wrong. But so I want to thank them for coming on, both of them for coming on this morning or whatever. And then, like I said, man, so next week, y'all, I'm gonna be in Vegas, man. So I'll let y'all know what's up. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna be in Vegas next week.
He gonna be recovering. He gonna be just getting in.
Yeah, my boys, Dub 3, if y'all see in the background, they performing down in Vegas next week. They're doing a Grammy weekend. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna send y'all some information so y'all can follow. Y'all might see me on Facebook Live Friday, Saturday night, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So definitely y'all tune in for that, man, or whatever. But I want to thank everybody for following us and keep supporting. Y'all keep doing y'all thing on Saturdays, man, or whatever. You know, we're gonna talk offline about some stuff we could do, you know what I'm saying, to keep get this ball rolling going forward. Or whatever. But everybody have a blessed weekend. This your boy Icon, Crystal, my man KB, Steve-O, and my man Jacob. You know what I'm saying? So we out of here. See y'all next week.
All right.